The sun had barely risen over the horizon, casting long shadows across the skeletal remains of what once was New York City. The streets, now more green than concrete, whispered tales of a world that fought back from the brink of annihilation. Captain Ellis, garbed in the tattered remnants of her once pristine uniform, stood atop the ruins of the Empire State Building, her eyes scanning the horizon, not for beauty, but for signs of the enemy. The Zalorians had come with promises of peace and left with Earth's scars. Their invasion had been repelled, but at a cost that left humanity teetering on the edge of oblivion. Yet, in the silence of this morning, a different kind of war was brewing, one of vengeance and survival. Ellis's mind replayed the horrors, cities burning, the sky filled with alien ships, and the screams of humanity. But then came the turning tide, the unity of a species pushed to the brink, the innovation born of desperation. Humans had pushed back, but not all knew the war was far from over. Her thoughts were interrupted by a subtle, almost imperceptible hum from her communicator. A message from the shadows, from a source she had hoped was still alive. It was a Zalorian defector, Kral, whose messages had been the only light in the darkest times of the invasion. Ellis, the Zalorians gather for another assault, but there's more. A weapon, the likes of which could end your species forever. The message read, static-filled but clear in its urgency. Ellis's heart raced. The decision was hers alone. The fleet, still in disarray, awaited her command. The information Kral provided could be the key to humanity's survival, but it came with a steep price. Trusting a former enemy was a gamble, and the weapon he spoke of might not even exist. The city below her whispered of past glories, of resilience. She thought of the people, the children who had survived, now playing among ruins, their laughter a stark contrast to the somber reality. Could she risk their future on a whisper from an alien, no matter his past aid? She descended the crumbled steps, each one echoing with the weight of her decision. The room where she once commanded from was now a makeshift war room, maps of star systems covering the walls, each pin a testament to human resistance. She looked at the faces around her, each one marked by the scars of war, each eye looking to her for direction. "We have a chance," she began, her voice steady, "to end this, once and for all, but it's a risk, one that could lead us to victory or to our extinction." A tense silence followed. No one spoke, but the nods were all she needed. They trusted her, not just as their leader, but as the embodiment of human tenacity. With a deep breath, she typed the code into her communicator, the message simple yet profound. The die was cast. Humanity would not wait to be hunted. They would hunt. Captain Ellis felt the weight of her choice, knowing that from this day forward, the stars would tell a new story, one of human defiance or human demise. But one thing was certain. The war was far from over. It had merely entered a new, perilous chapter. The vanguard of dawn, humanity's flagship in the Retribution Armada, sliced through the cosmos with a silent ferocity, its engines a whisper in the vast silence of space. On the bridge, the air was thick with tension, the crew's faces bathed in the blue glow of countless screens. Captain Ellis, now more commander than captain, stood before the panoramic view of the stars, each one a potential enemy or ally. "Status report," she commanded, her voice echoing through the bridge. "Engines at peak performance, Captain. We're on schedule to reach the Zalorian border in 3 solar cycles," responded Lieutenant Vega, his hands dancing over the console. "And our friends?" Ellis asked, her gaze not leaving the stars. "Silent as the grave," Vega replied, referring to the fleet's stealth capabilities. No sign of pursuit or interference. But the silence was a facade. In the shadow of this calm, intrigue brewed. Below decks, in a secluded part of the ship, a clandestine meeting was taking place. "His information has always been reliable," argued Commander Alaric, his voice low, eyes darting to the door. "But trusting Krall beyond this point? It's a leap into the dark." "We've little choice," countered Lieutenant Commander Tora, her voice firm. "We're going into their territory with his intel. If he's double-crossing us, we're walking into a trap." The debate was cut short by the arrival of Ellis, her presence silencing the room. "I've heard enough. We proceed with caution, doubling security on all critical systems. Krall's data will be our shield, but we need our own sword." Back on the bridge, the tension was palpable as they neared the Zalorian frontier. The stars seemed to shift, as if aware of the human intrusion. Suddenly, alarms blared, shattering the quiet vigilance. "Contact! 2 Zalorian scout ships, closing in fast!" Vega shouted. "Engage evasive maneuvers. Prepare for combat," Ellis ordered, her voice calm amidst the storm of activity. The vanguard of dawn began its dance through space, dodging energy beams that sliced through the void. In the midst of chaos, Ellis's mind was clear. This was the test of their resolve. "Captain, we have something else," Vega announced, his voice a mix of fear and excitement. "A signal. It's human. Faint but there." Ellis's heart leapt. "Source?" "An asteroid near our position. It's broadcasting an old Earth signal." A decision had to be made swiftly. Engage the Zalorians or investigate the signal? "Set course for the asteroid. Vega, send a decoy signal to mislead the scouts, make it look like we're retreating," Ellis decided. The gamble was enormous. They could be walking into an ambush or finding survivors, perhaps even more information from Krall. As they neared the asteroid, the silhouette of a hidden human colony appeared, a testament to human resilience. The structures were makeshift, built from the debris of space and human ingenuity. An elderly man, his face weathered by the harshness of space, greeted them. "We thought we were the last. You've come for the fight, haven't you?" Ellis nodded, her resolve steeling. "We're just the beginning." But the intrigue deepened. The colony had more than survivors. They had secrets. Among them was a scientist, Dr. Ilara, who had deciphered part of Krall's message, revealing a hidden Zalorian weapon not just of destruction, but of control over minds. "We go forward," Ellis declared to her crew, "but we go wary. If we're to take their throne, we must be ready for every betrayal." Thus, the vanguard of dawn pressed on, carrying the weight of human hope, the shadow of potential betrayal, and the promise of a fight that would echo through the stars. The vanguard of dawn loomed like a specter against the backdrop of Zaloria's vibrant, alien sky. The planet below was a kaleidoscope of colors, but the beauty was marred by the dark shadows of war. The human fleet, now bolstered by the knowledge and tech from the asteroid colony, prepared for what could be their final stand or their glorious reclamation. "Status on the fleet!" Captain Ellis called out, her eyes never leaving the planet. "Ready to engage, Captain. All ships are in position," Vega responded, his voice steady despite the palpable tension. "Begin the operation," Ellis commanded, her voice echoing through the fleet's communication channels. The human ships, each a testament to Earth's resilience, descended upon Zaloria. The sky filled with the dance of war, human weapons clashing with alien defenses. The Zalorians, caught off guard by the audacity of the human counterattack, scrambled to defend their world. "Captain, we're encountering heavy resistance at the orbital defense platforms," Vega warned. "Focus our main guns on those platforms," Ellis ordered. "We need a breach for our ground forces." As the battle raged above, a twist unfolded below. Commander Alaric, trusted by Ellis, received a secretive message. His face, always a mask of determination, now showed a flicker of doubt. "Alaric, what's wrong?" Ellis asked, noticing his change. "It's nothing, Captain. Just an old friend." He lied, the message from an unknown source suggesting he could end this war differently, perhaps even peacefully, with the right betrayal. The battle shifted as human ingenuity shone through. A squadron of fighters, piloted by the best humanity had to offer, including the newly joined pilots from the asteroid colony, executed a daring maneuver, bypassing the main defenses to strike directly at the command center. "Target acquired, Captain," came the voice of Lieutenant Commander Tora over the comm. "We've got them scrambling." But victory was not without its price. The vanguard of Dawn took a direct hit, sending shockwaves through the ship. "We've lost propulsion on the port side. We're vulnerable," Vega shouted. Ellis's mind raced. "Pull back the vanguard. Let the smaller ships cover us. We need to regroup." As they maneuvered for safety, another twist emerged. Dr. Alara, now aboard the vanguard, approached Ellis with a revelation from her analysis of Krall's message. "Captain, there's something else in Krall's data. It's not just a weapon, it's a control system for their entire fleet. If we can capture it—" Ellis nodded, her resolve firming. "We need that control system. Send a team down. I'll lead." The decision to go planet-side was risky, but necessary. As Ellis prepared, Alaric made his move. He contacted the unknown source, learning it was a faction within the Zalorians, tired of war, offering peace if he could deliver the human commander. The ground assault was brutal. Human soldiers, equipped with technology born from desperation, clashed with Zalorian forces. Amidst the chaos, Ellis led her team through the carnage, aiming for the central control hub where the weapon was housed. "Captain, we're pinned down," one of her soldiers reported, the sound of battle clear in his voice. "Hold position. I'm coming," Ellis replied, then turned to her small group. "We need to move now." They pushed forward, the control hub in sight, when Alaric, with a heavy heart, revealed his plan. "Ellis, there's a way out of this. Peace, not more death." Ellis, realizing the betrayal, faced Alaric with a mix of shock and understanding. "You're gambling our future for what? A promise from our enemies." "It's a chance for humanity to rebuild, not just survive," Alaric argued, his voice breaking. The confrontation was cut short by an explosion nearby, forcing them to act. "We take the hub. If there's peace to be had, it won't come from kneeling," Ellis declared, leading her team into the final push. As they breached the control center, the twist came full circle. Alaric, torn between duty and the promise of peace, chose his path by aiding Ellis in securing the control system, betraying those who had reached out to him, realizing the true cost of peace in this war. The chapter closed with the human forces gaining control, but at what cost? The seeds of doubt, betrayal, and the hope for an end to this saga were planted, leaving the fate of humanity and Zaloria hanging in the balance. The control hub of Zaloria was a cacophony of alarms and the hum of alien technology, now under human hands. Captain Ellis, with her team, had secured the room, but the battle outside raged on. The air was thick with tension, the ground shaking from the relentless assault. "Secure this room. We need to access their fleet control," Ellis commanded, her voice cutting through the chaos. Dr. Alara, working furiously on an alien console, replied, "I need more time, Captain. Their security protocols are unlike anything we've seen." Outside, Alaric, now grappling with his earlier betrayal, took command of the ground forces, his actions an attempt to redeem himself. "Hold the line. We've got the control hub. Don't let this be for nothing." The Zalorians, realizing the threat to their command structure, launched a counterattack of unprecedented ferocity. The skies above were lit with the fire of ships burning, both human and alien. Back in the control hub, the door burst open. A group of Zalorian soldiers, their eyes fierce with desperation, stormed in. A firefight ensued, bullets and energy beams crisscrossing the room. "Fall back to the core!" Ellis shouted, dragging Dr. Alara with her behind a makeshift barricade. One Zalorian stood out, not in armor, but in a scientist's robe. "You will not control our destiny!" he yelled in broken human language, aiming a device at the main console. Ellis didn't hesitate. She fired, the shot ricocheting off the alien's device, sending it to the ground. The scientist fell, but not before a signal was sent. "Alara, what was that?" Ellis demanded. "A self-destruct sequence for their entire network. We've got minutes before this place goes up." Alara responded, her hands a blur over the controls. The countdown was a ticking bomb. Outside, Alaric led a desperate charge, knowing the ground they held was about to become their grave if they didn't secure the area. "Move! Move! We need that control!" Inside, the situation was dire. "I've got partial access. I can redirect their fleet, but not deactivate the self-destruct," Alara said, sweat beading on her forehead. "Redirect them to fight each other." "Buy us time," Ellis ordered, her mind racing. "We can't let them regroup." Alara's fingers flew over the console, hacking into the Zalorian fleet's command structure. Suddenly, the sky outside turned chaotic as Zalorian ships, now under partial human control, began attacking each other, creating a window of opportunity. "We've got a path to the POW camp. We can free our people," Alaric reported through the comms. "Go. We'll hold here," Ellis responded, her eyes meeting Alara's, both aware of the imminent explosion. With the human forces pushing towards the POW camp, a new challenge arose. The freed humans, malnourished and weak, were not just prisoners, but also spies, some loyal to Zaloria after years of indoctrination. "Identify yourself," Alaric demanded as he approached one of the liberated. "I'm with you. I always was," the man said, but his eyes told a different story. The intrigue deepened as trust became a luxury they couldn't afford. Ellis, back in the control hub, made a hard call. "Alara, we need to abandon this place. Now." "But the control—" "We've done enough. We've turned their fleet against them. It's time to leave." As they evacuated, the control hub exploded behind them, a beacon of their defiance. The sky was falling, literally, as debris rained down, but with the Zalorian fleet in disarray, humanity had gained a crucial advantage. The chapter ended with Ellis, Alaric, and their forces regrouping with the liberated POWs, now a motley crew of soldiers and spies. The line between ally and enemy blurred, setting the stage for deeper intrigue and the harsh realization that the war for the throne was far from over. The human forces, now swelled with the ranks of liberated yet dubious POWs, moved through the alien landscape towards the heart of Zaloria. The sky was a tapestry of destruction, the remnants of the once mighty Zalorian fleet now clashing in the heavens above. "Keep them close, Alaric. We don't know who among them still serves the enemy," Ellis whispered, her gaze scanning the faces of the newly freed. "Understood, Captain. But some might be our key to the palace," Alaric replied, his voice tinged with the weight of his earlier betrayal. The path to the royal palace was fraught with peril. Zalorian resistance was fierce, driven by desperation now that their control over their own forces had been compromised. Amidst the ruins, a figure emerged, a human in Zalorian garb, his allegiance unclear. "Captain Ellis, I know a way through their defenses." "I've been mapping it from the inside," he said, stepping forward with a map etched into his skin. Ellis eyed him warily. "And why should we trust you?" "Because I want this war to end as much as you do. My name is Joran. I've been a slave, a spy, and now I choose to be your guide." The decision was made with a nod from Ellis, the group moving through hidden tunnels and forgotten passages. Joran's knowledge was invaluable, but his presence sowed seeds of distrust among the ranks. As they neared the palace, the tension was palpable. "We're close, but remember, not all of them are our enemies. Some are just pawns in this game," Joran cautioned. Inside the palace, the architecture was a blend of beauty and fortification, every corner a potential ambush. The sound of battle was muffled here, replaced by an eerie silence. "We need to secure the throne room," Ellis directed, her voice low. "Alaric, take half the team to cut off reinforcements. Joran, you're with me." As they split, Joran whispered, "There's something you should know. The Zalorian Emperor isn't just a figurehead. He has a psychic link to his people. Kill him, and you might unleash chaos." Ellis paused, her strategy shifting. "Then we take him alive. We end this war, not just the Emperor." The throne room was guarded by elite Zalorian warriors, their armor gleaming even in the dim light. A battle ensued, one of skill and desperation. Joran fought with a ferocity that suggested his loyalties might indeed lie with humanity. But as they neared victory, a twist unfolded. One of the POWs, a woman named Lyra, revealed herself not as an ally, but as a sleeper agent. "You've been led into a trap, Ellis," she hissed, activating a device that would summon more guards. In the chaos, Joran tackled Lyra, the device flying from her hand, but not before it sent its signal. "I told you, I choose my side," he growled, his allegiance now clear. With the throne room now a battleground, Ellis faced the Emperor, a figure of both awe and dread. "Surrender, and your people might live," she offered, her weapon trained on him. The Emperor, his voice resonating with an unnatural calm, replied, "You think you've won? This is but the beginning of your end." As reinforcements arrived, Alaric and his team clashed with them at the entrance, buying time. In the throne room, a standoff ensued, the psychic link the Emperor boasted of now a palpable force, attempting to sway the minds of the humans. Ellis, fighting against the mental assault, made her decision. "We take him now. Bind him before he can do more damage." With Joran's help, and the psychic connection severed by the chaos of battle, they managed to capture the Emperor, but the cost was immense. The chapter closed with human forces retreating under heavy fire, the throne room now a symbol of their temporary victory, but the war for control, for peace, for the right to rule, was far from decided. The halls of the Zalorian palace echoed with the sounds of retreating boots and the clash of metal against energy shields. With the Emperor in human custody, the power dynamics within the palace had shifted dramatically. Every corridor was a potential battlefield, each room a possible ambush. "Move! Move! Get the Emperor to the extraction point!" Ellis shouted over the chaos. Joran, now fully trusted, led the way, his intimate knowledge of the palace's secret passages proving invaluable. "This way, through the servants' quarters. It's less guarded, but watch for traps." The group moved swiftly, the weight of their captive slowing them down. The Emperor, despite his bindings, exuded an aura of calm, his eyes scanning for any chance to turn the tide. "You think you've won, human, but my people will not yield so easily," he spoke, his voice like silk over steel. "Quiet," Ellis snapped, but his words sowed doubt among the soldiers. Suddenly, from a hidden alcove, Zalorian loyalists ambushed them. The fight was brutal, close-quarters combat where human technology met alien prowess. Alaric, wielding a captured Zalorian blade, fought with a ferocity born of guilt and redemption. "Clear the path!" he yelled, slicing through an opponent's armor. In the midst of the melee, Lyra, the traitor, appeared once more, her eyes now filled with regret. "I was wrong! Let me help!" she pleaded, joining the fray on the human side. Ellis, with no time for grudges, nodded. "Then prove it. Clear our exit." The battle turned in their favor, but the cost was high. Just as they reached the palace's outer gates, a massive Zalorian ship descended, its weapons trained on them. The Emperor smiled, a grim, knowing smile. "You will not escape this place with me," he said, his psychic influence attempting to weaken the resolve of his captors. Ellis, seeing no other choice, decided on an audacious move. "Alaric, Joran, get the Emperor to the ship. Lyra, with me. We're going to make a diversion." Alaric and Joran, with a handful of soldiers, broke for the human extraction craft, while Ellis and Lyra charged towards the Zalorian ship, drawing its fire. They used every piece of cover, every moment of confusion to keep the ship's attention. "Keep moving! Don't stop!" Ellis commanded, her weapon blazing, creating a spectacle of light and sound. Lyra, now fighting for redemption, covered Ellis, her shots precise and deadly. "I won't let you down again, Captain." The diversion worked. The Zalorian ship focused on them, giving Alaric's group precious seconds. But as Ellis and Lyra neared their own escape route, a massive energy beam from the ship struck near them, the explosion throwing them back. Ellis, wounded but alive, pulled herself up. "Lyra, go! Make sure they get out!" Lyra hesitated, then nodded, running back to aid the others as Ellis limped towards the human ship, now taking off with the Emperor aboard. The action was frenetic, the air filled with the sounds of battle and the cries of the wounded. As the human ship ascended into the sky, leaving the palace behind, Ellis watched from the ground, her vision blurring. The last thing she saw was the Zalorian ship turning towards her, its weapons powering up for one final shot. The chapter ended with the human ship escaping into the night sky, the fate of Ellis hanging in the balance, the war for the throne taking a dramatic turn, with the heart of the Empire now a battleground for both physical and psychological warfare. The vanguard of dawn soared through the chaos of the Zalorian sky, the Emperor now a prisoner within its walls. Back on the ground, the ruins of the palace smoldered, a testament to the ferocity of the human assault. Captain Ellis, presumed dead by her crew, lay amidst the destruction, her survival a secret known only to the shadows of the night. Aboard the ship, the atmosphere was tense. Alaric, now the de facto leader, grappled with the implications of their victory. The Emperor, his psychic presence now contained within a specially designed cell, watched with eyes that hinted at unseen plans. In the bridge, the crew debated their next move. The silent understanding was that with the Emperor captured, the Zalorians might surrender, but the cost of this war was etched into the very souls of those who fought. Below, in the ship's holding area, intrigue unfolded. Joran, still adjusting to his role among humans, discovered a hidden message on a device taken from the Emperor. It wasn't a plea for help, but a command for one of their own to act. The betrayal was imminent. The ship's journey was interrupted by a sudden, violent shake. A Zalorian cruiser, cloaked and waiting, struck with vengeance. The battle was swift, the vanguard of Dawn taking damage but managing to fend off the attack, revealing the depth of Zalorian resolve even in defeat. In the confusion, the betrayal revealed itself. One of the POWs, thought to be a loyal ally, accessed the ship's systems, redirecting power to the Emperor's cell, attempting to free him. The alarms blared, the lights flickered. Alaric, with quick thinking, sealed the Emperor's cell manually, but not before the traitor, a man named Kale, made his move, revealing his true allegiance. A fight broke out, swift and silent, ending with Kale's death by Joran's hand, who now stood as both hero and potential suspect in the eyes of some. The ship's systems were compromised, their return to Earth in jeopardy. Alaric made the hard decision to crash land on a nearby moon, not ideal, but necessary for repairs and to regroup. On the ground, the harsh environment tested their resolve. As they worked, the Emperor's voice echoed through the makeshift comms. "You think you've won? Look around you. See the cost. Your victory is but a moment in time." The crew, now facing the reality of their situation, began to question the path they had chosen. The moon's harsh landscape was a mirror to their internal turmoil. Ellis, having survived and using a stolen Zalorian suit for camouflage, made her way back to her people. Her reappearance was met with relief, but also shock. Her presence a beacon of hope, yet a reminder of the war's toll. With the ship partially repaired, the final push was near. Alaric, looking at the weary faces around him, knew the end was close. But at what cost? The Emperor's influence was still palpable, his words sowing seeds of doubt and division. As they prepared for the last leg of their journey, a final betrayal was uncovered. One of the engineers, influenced by the Emperor's psychic whispers, attempted to sabotage the ship's navigation, aiming to crash them into the sun. The plot was thwarted, but the trust within the ranks was fractured. The chapter closed with the vanguard of Dawn lifting off from the moon, heading towards Earth, the throne of Zaloria still within human grasp, but at the price of unity and lives. The end was in sight, but the shadows of betrayal and the cost of victory loomed large. The vanguard of Dawn pierced through the veil of space, Earth now a beacon of what was once home, now a symbol of the future they fought to reclaim. The ship, battered but unbroken, carried not just the survivors of an interstellar campaign, but the weight of a species' destiny. Inside, the atmosphere was electric with the tension of an approaching end. The Emperor, his psychic influence now a mere whisper, watched from his cell as the humans prepared for what could be their final confrontation. "Captain, we're approaching the Zalorian fleet," Alaric reported, his voice steady, but his eyes betraying the fatigue of war. "They've gathered in Earth's orbit, a last stand." Ellis, her injuries a testament to her resilience, stood firm. "Then let's make it count. All hands to battle stations, we end this today. The human fleet, smaller but now united with the technology and knowledge gained from Zeloria, engaged the Zelorian forces with a ferocity born of desperation and hope. The battle was a spectacle of light and destruction, ships clashing like titans in the void. Focus fire on their command ship. We need to show them the war is over, Ellis commanded, her voice echoing through the fleet's communication channels. Amidst the chaos, Joran, now a key strategic advisor, detected an anomaly. Captain, there's a signal from the Zelorian command ship. It's not a battle command. It's a surrender. The revelation was met with a mix of relief and suspicion. It could be a trap, Alaric cautioned, his trust in the enemy now minimal. Or it could be the beginning of peace, Ellis countered, her eyes on the prize. Prepare to accept their surrender, but keep our defenses up. As the human ships closed in, a small shuttle was seen departing from the Zelorian command ship, bearing a white flag. It was an old Earth symbol of peace, a poignant reminder of what this war was about. The shuttle docked with the vanguard of dawn, and from it emerged not warriors, but diplomats, led by a Zelorian named Vera, her appearance less intimidating than her predecessors. We come to end this, Vara spoke, her voice clear over the comms. The Emperor's reign ends today, by his own decree or by ours. Ellis, with Alaric at her side, met them in the ship's conference room, the Emperor's presence looming through a secure video feed. Your Emperor has led us to the brink. Why should we trust this surrender? Vara's response was sincere. Because we've seen your resolve, and we see now the folly of our invasion. The Emperor's psychic control over us has waned. We choose peace. The Emperor, his face a mask of resignation, confirmed. I have seen the human spirit. It endures. My reign ends, not in conquest, but in understanding. The dialogue was a dance of diplomacy and suspicion, but the tide was turning. With assurances of disarmament and reparations, the humans agreed to a ceasefire, the terms to be finalized on Earth. As the fleets disengaged, the human victory was bittersweet. The cost had been enormous, but the war was over. The Zelorian ships withdrew, leaving Earth's orbit to the Guardians who had fought to keep it free. However, the peace was not without its final test. In the shadow of this new dawn, one last act of betrayal was attempted. A Zelorian extremist, hidden among the diplomats, made a move against Ellis, aiming to reignite the conflict. The attack was swift, but Alaric, ever vigilant, intercepted, taking the blow meant for Ellis. His sacrifice was the final act of heroism in this saga, his blood a seal on the peace they had fought for. Alaric! Ellis cried out, but his smile was one of peace as he fell, knowing his last act ensured the future. The extremist was subdued, and with him, the last vestige of war. As Earth's sky cleared of the remnants of battle, the vanguard of dawn descended, carrying not just survivors, but the architects of a new era. Ellis, now bearing the weight of leadership and loss, looked over the planet, her voice firm as she addressed her crew and the gathered diplomats. Today, we've not just won a war. We've laid the foundation for peace. We will rebuild, together. The chapter, and the story, closed with humanity standing victorious, not in the ashes of their enemies, but in the promise of a shared future. The throne of Zeloria was now a footnote in history, replaced by the dawn of interspecies cooperation, with Earth at its heart.